Well, welcome everybody to the Friday edition of Richardson Plano Networkers. Today we have special guest Brady Patterson, who will talk about leveraging collaboration to grow your business. During this information-rich session, attendees and those who watch it afterwards will learn strategies that work to grow your business even in a pandemic. Strategic relationships, collaborations, and other creative alliances have the power to enable you to adapt and thrive when your normal is challenged. And I think our normal is challenged. Brady Patterson is an affiliate manager, joint venture partnerships at the JV Insider Circle and has been COO of Success Road Academy and the organizer of Entrepreneurs International Network. Please join with me in welcoming Brady Patterson.
Thank you, Randy. Appreciate that. Well, I was laughing as we're coming in there. We were talking about this right before. This is kind of what Vancouver normally looks like in the winter. It's a little wet outside right now, and it's a perfect time to be online and doing all kinds of other things. So I'm super excited to be here. I appreciate that introduction. And this right now is kind of I think for all of us, no matter what industry we're in, whether it's, we're looking for something new or we're really well established and are growing something in particular online, now is the best time to be online that we've probably ever seen. And, some of us think about people telling us to go online years ago, and now is always the best time, right? So we want to get into that. So I'm just going to pull up the slides I've got for you and kind of give you a rough agenda of what I have planned for the next little while. And give me one moment. Where'd Zoom go? All right, can you guys give me a thumbs up if the slides are there? Okay, wonderful, perfect. So we're gonna talk about how to connect and collaborate with industry leaders to grow your business and some of the strategies behind that. And what I wanna do is I'm gonna cover the topics first. So I'll probably go relatively quickly through the content, maybe deep diving if I see something specific. And I wanna make this interactive, in particular when I cover the rough part, I wanna get to doing some hot seats and actually figuring out how you can use this in your business right now. Because as I was taking down notes on who's attending, right, we've got kind of the financial space, a couple people want bookkeeping, financial advisor, there's some intricacies around doing affiliate partnerships, joint ventures, collaborations, that some people will have to be aware of that others won't. So I want to be able to kind of tackle those specifically. Now, let's move forward here. There we go. If you're using, most of us have these things. So if you're using that, checking your Facebook under the table or looking at your Instagram or whatever, I promise you, if you just give your attention for the meeting, it'll be worth your time. Grab a pen and paper for those of us that still use those things to take notes. If you take digital notes, get your Evernote, whatever you need going, and we'll get going. And at the end of this, I'm going to actually invite you to join our JV event, which is full of experts like yourselves who are looking to grow their business using joint ventures. This is one of the premier events for this industry. It's a giant JV summit, and we'll talk more about that as we go. Now, I don't have a lot of testimonials put through here. I did put a couple because I think they're relevant. This stuff does work if you put it into action. If you have an expert-based business or you're in the consulting field and you want to get known, when you implement these strategies, they work fantastically well for getting you more exposure in the market, no matter what market you're in. Now, just to give you a quick background on me, so that, the explanation is one thing, but I've been in business since 2001. I've helped scale several businesses beyond 7 figures. I joined this particular company on a contract basis to make sure that the Joint Venture Insider Circle grew effectively as a JV type company. It's been around since 2013. It's helped thousands and thousands of people over the years, and we have about 800 active members. Now, I've partnered with multiple 7-figure companies to grow not just my clients' businesses, but my own stuff as well. And I've shaped hundreds. And I say hundreds because I didn't actually go in and count, but I've guessed, well, it's into 1,000 or more joint venture deals over the past 15 years or 20 years. So I've done a lot of that in both the product space, service space, so all those different areas. And so that's we have that background. And for those of, and since you guys are, many of you are from Texas, I come from the Texas of Canada. So I come from Alberta, and I grew up in the oil and gas industry. My family had a fracking service. So I've been around business of some sort since I was just, old enough to totter around and start pushing and knocking things over. Now, there are essentially 5 main ways that industry leaders will want to promote people. And I'm going to talk about them each. I'm going to overview them really quickly, and then we're going to kind of tackle them one-on-one. And the 5 ways that they want to promote you are: number 1, being featured on a podcast; 2, participating in some sort of a gift giveaway. And these are online. You see that a lot, and we'll talk about the different types. Being on a Telesummits, speaking at events like I'm doing right now, and cross-promoting, right? And these are kind of the areas where joint ventures really fall, or affiliate marketing. And as we pull these apart, know that no matter which industry you're in, whether in financial advisory, or insurance advice, all these expertise doing all these things, or you're looking for what's next for you, all these can actually be beneficial and can help you build your network very, very quickly, and be able to, you can utilize these for no matter what you do, which is, I think, one of the things that I loved about joint venture marketing. It's a way for you to build your influence, your network, your expertise, and your business at the same time. And so they can become very, very powerful. Now, and by the way, the reason there are a ton of different ways people can promote, right? It doesn't have to be these 5. These 5 just happens to be some of the highest leverage and longest lasting. So if you speak on a podcast, for example, it lasts as long as the podcast is hosted, right? Could be forever. If you participate in a giveaway, it has a lot of potential because all the promoters, the other people in the giveaway, are promoting that giveaway, so it gets a lot wider reach. If you're being on a telesummit, again, you're not only getting the exposure of everybody that's promoting it, but you're also getting an opportunity to speak, to get in front of people and share your message or grow your audience, whatever it is you're particularly doing. Obviously, speaking at events is my favorites. I love to speak. And speaking at events is very powerful, and it can be, I classify anything where I'm going to be talking, if it's 5 to 7 minutes and beyond, as speaking at events, and virtual or online. Obviously, up until this year, most of my speaking was done offline. I spoke at small events, networking meetings, things like that. We do a lot of webinars. I would even sometimes classify a webinar as a speaking opportunity, depending on how it's structured. And then, of course, the last one being those cross promotions. So we'll kind of dig into these right now. One of the reasons that I really love podcasts are their longevity and potential for exposure. So when you want to have somebody, when you want to get known, when you want to find new clients, find new leverage points, being on a podcast, it can be very, very simple. Now, I like it because if you're really new and you don't really have a strong message, you don't have a clear pathway for people to follow yet, and you're really getting going, and you have a podcaster that's willing to put you in without a strong call to action, the podcast can actually be very simple. Because if you're really passionate about your topic, like maybe you're like Robin and you love photography. Robin, you light up when you were talking about that. So we know you love you love taking those photos. So if you're really clear about that, you could just get on and talk to somebody, and they just have a conversation, and that gets recorded, right? So even if you don't have everything in place, you can start with podcasts right away. Now, I recommend, of course, that you have a clear plan of action, right? You know where you're going to send people when it comes to podcasts. But it makes it much more effective, but it's not necessary, right? It just makes it more effective. If you do find a partner that has a very clear trajectory as far as what their interview flow is like, that's going to be this, that, and the other thing, then it also helps you start to refine your message really, really quickly. The other piece about podcasts is, and all these are going to have a flip side, a double side to the marketing piece. If you speak on a podcast is amazing, but being a podcaster also has a ton of potential, because then you get to vet all the people that you want to put into your sphere of influence. You get to grow your own business while growing your network at the same time. So a lot of podcasters, for example, when I get to the cross promotion section, we'll talk about all the ways people kind of collaborate in a bigger sense, or in a more equitable sense, maybe that's the right word. Being able to exchange podcasts with other podcasters that have bigger audiences, or exchange good content, or be able to vet your potential joint venture and affiliate partners. And actually, I should cover that first. Let's delineate what joint ventures, affiliates, that kind of thing. It's used very, very loosely in the internet marketing world. From a legal perspective, joint ventures are, when two people are doing business together in a partnership, right? If you're buying a house and you're doing a joint venture in a house, usually two of you have entered some sort of legal contract and you're doing business, or you're acquiring a new business, or whatever it happens to be. For whatever reason, in the affiliates marketing space, they globbed onto joint ventures as that's the term we're going to use. And so that just gets lumped into joint ventures, affiliates, collaborations, things like that. So it's used very, very loosely in that world, and oftentimes with or without a contract. So there can be contracts where people are, doing a ton of business that way, that are really like, they have massive lists and they're following those things. But the vast majority, I think in 5 years now of full-time affiliate management for my clients, I have not once signed an affiliate contract for somebody. So it is there, but it's not used very commonly. And more often than not, if it is used, it's used between friends rather than other people, which is kind of odd to me. But I have not, like I said, I've never seen it. None of my clients have ever signed them. It just isn't something that we've had in our circle. So that doesn't mean it doesn't happen. We have an affiliate contract, just nobody really worries too much about it. So coming back to the podcasts are great when you either run your podcast because you're building your audience, your reach, your show, your message, and also, if you do it correctly, generating a revenue source from that particular stream, from that source. But it also allows you to go on other podcasts. And you don't have to have a podcast to go on them. You just have to have good content or have people to have a good conversation with somebody. So podcasts, super powerful. I love podcasts and I speak on a ton of them. The second one I want to talk to is gift giveaways. Now, if you're just getting into the online space, gift giveaways are really strong, because what happens with a gift giveaway is, well, first of all, it's very passive. So you don't have to have a strong talk prepared where you know exactly what you're going to say, how you're going to say it, the cadence in which you're going to, the call to action and all those things. All you really need to have prepared is an opt-in page, which is a place where somebody can put their name and email, and some sort of a gift that you can give them as part of that. So usually this isn't free, something that you give away free. It's usually an inexpensive product, but it can be free. I always recommend something of value, something that somebody you have to pay $50, $100 for, but you can give it away as a gift. That sets you apart from all the other people that are typically just giving their 7-point one-page PDF. And if you charge for your 7-point one-page PDF, then absolutely, that makes a good gift. But I like it because it has a passive element to it. And so you don't have to plan, I'm going to talk for this long, or I'm going to have to figure something out on my schedule. It's like, okay, I put this together and figure it, and then I can just send them the page, right? So it's very easy. Now, gift giveaways are particularly nice when they're themed properly. So oftentimes there'll be like a health giveaway. My friend Jennifer Dunham runs the happiness giveaway every December. We run 2 giveaways a year in the JV space. So there's lots of different types of giveaways. In fact, I think in our community, we run roughly 100 different giveaways throughout the year. Not ourselves, but within the community itself. So giveaways are great because it's a way for a lot of people to play that wouldn't normally, with bigger partners that they might not normally get access to. Because what happens during, and it works, by the way, in any of these types of promotions, as you engage and interact with these bigger partners or the people running, they're watching how you participate. So they're saying, is Brady emailing the way he said it? Is he following through on what he said he's going to do? Did he prepare it in a timely fashion? They're watching for all these little details to see how you perform, because then if you do well, you'll be the ones that they kind of prioritize for other types of promotions. And if you bomb the thing, then usually you don't get necessarily blacklisted, but it depends on the person. You might get blacklisted and they won't want to do any other work for you. They'll be really nice to you still, but they might just choose not to do any further joint ventures with you. So gift giveaways are great. Just like podcasts and all these pretty much, participating gift giveaway has a lot of power being a participant, because like if you are the one giving the gift, then it's great because you're getting highly qualified traffic from that. So the people that are coming from there, they opt in for your gift specifically, right? So you know that if somebody took your free gift, it's because they wanted it. But there's another side to this, which is, and that gives you the highly qualified traffic, but this other side is running the gift giveaway. So the gift, if you're running it, you get all the leads. So you get to build an email list very, very quickly. And so it can be, both are advantageous, but you also have to figure where it fits in your marketing calendar, because like any of these promotions, you don't have time. Well, podcasts are different, but gift giveaways, for example, you can't do one every week. That would never work. You can't do one every month. I would max out at 2 a year, maybe 3 if you have it in your calendar, but I would say 2 a year is kind of like where this is, for me, the sweet spot. And particularly, I have, I'm going to give an example in a second of Julia Stege, who's one of our clients who used giveaways to build her list and make about $500,000. So gift giveaways are great. They're nice and passive. They allow you to just really focus on what you want to do without having to spend a lot of your personal time out networking and meeting new folks. And again, from the other side, if you're running the gift giveaway, it's very strong because you get the entire list, which allows you to start to grow that list and start to segment. So this whole email thing, like marketing, whatever you built, there's a lot of potential the biggest potential is always going to be in growing your email list, your subscriber base. And as you grow your subscriber base, you can start to segment it. The future of email marketing is not going to be having this 1 million person email list. And I mean, there are always going to be people like that, but it's going to be hyper targeted, much more like personalized contact. So I always recommend people start segmenting your email list as soon as you possibly can. Find out what your people want. So if you do a giveaway, for example, and it's themed, let's say you do an entrepreneurs type giveaway, you can theme it into finance, right? You can theme it into personal development. You can all the stuff that relates to how you do better in business, right? So you can just have like certain segments: personal development, finance, systems, marketing strategies, whatever. You have these themes, and then you get speakers or contributors under each one that can contribute pieces to those specific things, and that allows you to start to segment. Okay, now these people opted in for these things, because you can see where that traffic goes. Or I always get reports from our partners when we run these, so I know who opted into what, and I can tag them in our system so that I know, oh, they like business offers, oh, they like personal development offers, right? I know personally, like, our list does not really care for personal development offers. They want how-to business training. They want very clear marketing strategies. They want implementable things that they can do immediately. So I spend time figuring out which ones fit where, and that way I can only send messages to the right people at the right time. So I'm not inundating people with 82,000 emails in their inbox in a day. So gift giveaways, super powerful. And like I was mentioning, Julia, she'd been in business as building websites for 17 years, had emails to about 3,000 people. In her first 4 years at JVIC, she built her email list to 12,000 only using gift giveaways. She wasn't doing podcasts. She wasn't doing any of the other things I'm talking about, and made $500,000 in revenue from it. Because her gift leads to a strategy session where she helps people, talks to them about building their website. And so she builds marketing website, or she builds websites for people in kind of like the woo-woo space. Absolutely wonderful lady. And one of our, with a smaller list, still one of our biggest partners. She typically ends up being one of our top promoting partners because she's done so well with it. Now, this is one of my favorite strategies. It's not for everybody. It can be labor intensive, depending on how you run it, but it's very, very powerful. Again, I like it because, of course, it gives me speaking opportunity and gives other people speaking opportunity. But a Telesummit. So those of you that remember getting on those calls, I don't know how many of you have been to an actual Telesummit, but we used to, pick up the phone and actually get onto these things by dialing into them. Instead of now, they're all done online with like pictures and videos and all kinds of things, and it's great. I much prefer the virtual summit over the Telesummit, but we still kind of call them Telesummits because the trend didn't really change away from that. Just like a gift giveaway, a Telesummit has those same two elements. You can be a contributor to a Telesummit, so you can do your talk. Usually you get like between 20 and 45 minutes to talk, and make it it depends on the strategy, but you may be able to make an offer to a strategy session or give people a gift, or in the right summit, you might even be able to sell directly. So being a contributor is great because you get highly qualified traffic, right? They're only the people that show up for your talk are the ones that want to hear your talk. You don't get people that come that don't. So that can be really good. And then you get the leads from that. Now, on the other side, running the Telesummit is really powerful. And I always give this an example. I have a survival training company here in Canada. It's one of my businesses. And it's like the plumber whose pipes leak and the car mechanics whose car never. I never built the online side of that business until this year. And April 16th, in the midst of the first real lockdown, I decided I was on a call with about 60 of my colleagues. We're all mostly Canadian, talking about how we can save each other's businesses that are in that space, because that's all in person, right? And some of them were already going bankrupt because they were already paycheck to paycheck, client to client. They were not taking a lot of people. And I heard myself say, well, I'm going to run this thing called the Outdoor Adventure Summits, May 4th to 8th. Who wants to speak on that? And I was just like, I'll put this out there. And I mean, I've run lots of summits before that, but I'd never run one in that space. And so I went from an email. So in less than 3 weeks doing the work, as the organizer, I found 14 other speakers, 15 counting myself. I did 3 speakers a day for 5 days. It was the last week before the lockdown lifted. So it was perfect timing. I had a captive audience. The timing was great. And we ended up with a list of about 4,000 people registered and attended. So it was very, very, very powerful, because I went from 9 people on my email list to 4,000 in about 3 weeks. It was very, very quick, fantastic marketing strategy, and absolutely, as you can tell, one of my favorites. And what it told me also was who I wanted to work with, because even though I only had 14 speakers, and some of the summits have lots more, like there's people with like 40 speakers in a week. I know one gentleman that runs a summit that runs 2 weeks and they have 160 speakers. It's absolutely insane. It's every day. Not for me, but if you wanted to do that, I mean, I'm sure they generate lots of leads, but qualified or not, I don't know if they'd be qualified, right? So I like smaller, more targeted stuff. I think it makes more sense. So very, very powerful tool. And the thing about all these so far that we've talked about is they're yours. If you're the one organizing it, you're the host. It's your rules. So if you run your own telesummit, run it the way you want to run it. If you're doing your own giveaway, run it the way you want to do it, right? If you're having your own podcast, obviously do your podcast the way you want to do it, and make sure you are always, of course, targeting towards, well, this is going to generate me revenue for my business or expand my network, depending on what you're doing. So Telesummits, super awesome. The only thing I do prefer about Telesummits is always have a call to action prepared, because at the end of your talk, you're going to be, whether it's an interview or whatever, you want to be able to leverage that particular piece of content. And you want to be a good guest, because the potential partner that could be sitting across from you is interviewing you. Like I interviewed all those 14 speakers, and the person sitting across from you can be a very, very powerful potential partner in the long run, as long as you do that correctly. The fourth one is speaking at events. Obviously, I love that. I've mentioned that a few times. Being able to speak at virtual events is what's replacing belly-to-belly contact right now. I much prefer speaking at live events. I like to shake your hands. I'm a hugger for people that are willing, so I like to hug as well. I'm not getting that right now. That's my personal preference. But also, there's a know, like, and trust factor that it's harder to build online. It's like, if I can shake your hand, great. I can look you in the eye. We can have a conversation. You can ask me direct questions. It's much simpler than, we're on a virtual thing and all of a sudden I get uncomfortable and Zoom dies. It's like there's lots of things that can go wrong and virtually that just can't go wrong in person. And I love that ability. And also to be able to read people's body language. Like you guys can't see, below here. I can't see below there for the rest of you. We don't know what we're doing. All we really have to react on is here. Right. Although right now with virtual events, or if there were live events, if we'd be wearing a mask, we wouldn't be able to see what each other is doing anyway. But they're very powerful. And this is where I like to, if I'm going to be selling something directly, this is a great way to do it, because I can, market my product, sell my product, and be able to make a clear offer much more easy than being on a summit or a gift giveaway or a podcast, right? And in fact, most of the other strategies that I've mentioned already, I would send people to a webinar or some sort of longer virtual event, masterclass, video sales letter, something that actually works more effective than in the time that I have. Because sometimes podcasts, like my friend Tom does 7-minute podcasts. I don't have time to make a long offer. He asks me 7 questions and kicks me off. It's like, that's just the way it operates. He loves that. His people love it. But then I send people to a webinar. So speaking at events, super powerful. And this is where I like it, because you can just speak directly. And also this becomes good. If you have your own events, of course, you can bring people in and start to build up, I guess, favors when it comes to joint ventures. So you can trade stage time. You can trade any of these marketing strategies for other opportunities for yourself. And the last one is cross promotions, and this kind of marries everything together, right? So most people, when they think of cross promotions in our space or in my space right now, is webinars. So it's like, you promote my webinar, I'll promote your webinar. But that just is like the surface of the potential. Because what if I don't have a webinar? What if all I have is a podcast, right? Or what if all I have is a virtual event or a live event or something, or a meetup or whatever it is, right? This is where the art of joint venturing or affiliate marketing comes in, where you can start to craft deals that both parties feel is equitable. So let's say, for example, if we take our email list and let's say we're 100,000 people, and somebody partners with me that has 1,000 people on their email list. Well, there's not a lot of equity there. There's no equality at all. If I'm going to promote them with a list of 100,000, I want to know what else they can do what other places will help me hedge my bets against the big disparity between list size. So maybe I find out that they have a podcast. Great. So if I said, oh, look, I'll promote a webinar for you, and I found they have a podcast, but I want to be on your podcast, and I'll make an evergreen offer. By the way, for podcasts, evergreen offers are some of the best things you can do. Have an evergreen webinar, a video sales letter, something that's recorded that can go forever. And so with cross promotions doing this way, maybe I want to speak on their podcast and make an evergreen offer. But then I find out they have a 3-day event. Okay, great. Well, I'll promote you from a list of 100,000, but I want to be able to speak at your 3-day event if it's an audience fit, obviously. And maybe that's enough. Maybe I feel like maybe there's 300 qualified people in the room, right? And I might feel that that's something that I would be willing to do. So I would pursue that, but maybe that's still not enough. And I'm like, okay, but I want you to promote all 3 of my events this year. Whatever it is, we're looking for ways that everybody feels that there's a fair exchange. And, it can be a small bit or a little bit. And sometimes it's as simple as we don't even exchange money. I just promote your webinar and you promote mine, and we just exchange the leads that are involved, and each of us keeps our money. It can be very, very simple. But those are the main 5 that I would say most people in the affiliate JV space want to work with, because it allows them to really kind of forge ahead in a more effective manner. So let me pull this up. There's a bunch of chats came in. Actively looking for entrepreneurs. Okay, wait, Sabrina, I'll go to the top. Luke's there, Sabrina's there. Okay, you guys are just posting your information. Yeah, face-to-face, it's nice to be able to report that way. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, awesome. So I want to be able to find, I know we don't have tons and tons of time. I'll invite you guys to collaborate shortly, but I want you to understand the potential of what's possible here. So I'm going to take my screen off for a moment and ask for volunteers. I'd like to see who's got something that they're interested in leveraging the affiliate space for, and I will. Let's do a hot seat. Who'd like to see how we can use or leverage affiliate partnerships in their business right now?
So if you'd like to have Brady work with you one-to-one right here, just open your mic and I'll call on you, and then so I can see if you open your mic. So let's go with Robin. Robin, I was actually going to voluntold you, but I'm glad you opened your mic. So
yeah, I'm curious about it. Yeah.
Got it. So I'm asking a couple of questions first. So do you have what kind of online marketing do you have in place currently?
Lots of social media. Instagram is a big deal for me. I do blog. I'm not very good at it. I'm not very as consistent as I should be. I only end up doing it twice a month.
Okay. Have you built any kind of email list yet?
I do have an email list. Yes.
Okay, and they're they subscribe to they've given you their name and email with permission, it's a legal. Okay, wonderful. Yeah. How do they do that? Is it just on your website or your blog, or do they get some sort of gift?
On my website. I have not offered a gift, and that's actually what I'm kind of curious about. I know in photography, sometimes you can offer a free shoot and then they buy pictures, but I've also heard that going badly because people they hear free and they think they're getting everything for free, because there are photographers that will do that. And obviously if you're not that photographer, that's not what you want. I'm not going to give you pictures for free. And so you don't want to have a miscommunication over that. Like I've seen that happen.
Mhm.
So
Well, I mean, a simple way in my mind, for you to grow, to be able to have a gift that you can give away on summits or giveaways or podcasts, whatever, would be to put together a report, the top 10 whatever steps you would do to get somebody ready for a photo shoot, right? So how to get ready for the perfect photo shoot, right?
and that's actually, when you were talking, I think that would be, I could do a million things that people don't understand about photo shoots. I could just give you the information, not
Yeah.
a shoot.
Yeah. So the gift would be, I mean, I always like people to have two gifts, one that they can give away on different formats, right? For different, necessarily sometimes different audiences. So the, top 10 tips for the perfect profile, or they're not profile, but
But yeah,
what's
like
the
I
word?
said,
Yeah. The top 10 things you need to do to get ready for your perfect headshot, whatever it is, right? Just get on Google and you can search those things, or you can, you might probably know them already. So you can put together a document saying this is the things you need to do to get ready to have perfect headshots. Because like when I had my, the headshot I have normally, that when it went on the bio photo, I just got lucky that day. That happened to shave that day. My hair happened to be okay. I walked into a place and they were doing bio photos, and I was like, or headshots, and I was like, I'll sign up. They gave a discounted rate, and I was like, I haven't had one updated for a while, and I just like sat down and did it. Was it the most amazing one ever? Probably not, but it was okay. It worked at the time. So if you can find that would allow you to, or put that together, that report, that would allow you to be in giveaways. That would allow you to give it away at a summit, different things like that. And then, are you flying different places to do photo shoots, or is everybody coming to you locally?
they come to me.
Okay, so then you would want to have it be more hyper local marketing, where you're giving that gift away, but then it's it's a way to, you want to be able to email them and follow up with your sales process, so that you can actually make sure that they're buying a profile shot or a headshot, right? That they're coming into the studio. We just have to figure out what that particular strategy looks like. And so
you have a question, because there's kind of two sides. I obviously am a portrait photographer, but I'm, no surprise, the quirky, weird darkroom fine art chick too. So when I do workshops for those things like 19th century printing processes, people will travel to me to do it. Like, I can market those everywhere, because not everybody teaches those things now. So I guess I could do one or the other.
Right. It's, you can do both. It's like figuring out where you want to spend your time and what you want to do. If you want to spend more time with doing portraits, great. If you want to spend more time teaching people, great. Or divide your time, right? But have different messages for different people, because having training people sounds like you're training other photographers, correct? So it's a kind of a different, or are you taking people's photos? Like, I'm not clear on that.
Or when I do workshops, I actually get all different people, because photographers don't necessarily understand it any more than anybody else. So if you decided to take a workshop and you come in, you're going to bring a thumb drive, and I don't care if you took pictures with your iPhone. I don't care. We're going to turn them into digital negatives, go into the dark room, and we're going to be painting paper and going through darkroom techniques to develop a print like they did in the 19th century. So it can be photographers that think they're going to make something great, or it can be anybody who took some iPhone pictures that also turn out just as great.
Yes, you just want to be clear on who those people are, because if you market to everybody, then like everybody that was skin, it's not very effective. You want to be hyper specific. It doesn't mean you exclude the other people. Like, let's say, for example, I want to talk to entrepreneurs. Well, if I talk to entrepreneurs, then all of a sudden nobody listens to me, because I'm like white noise. So if you talk to, let's say, course creators or people that want to create courses, all of a sudden now you've excluded a lot of people, but you're still talking to entrepreneurs, right? It just means that the right people will be listening to you. And if other people come, that's fine, right? So yeah, so that's what I would do. And then you have potential here for so participating in giveaways with that really well. Like, you might want to run your own with other people that are training photographers. So you find the guests, right? Or the contributors, the other speakers, or the other contributors to the giveaway or the summit. Both these strategies could work really well for you if you organize a summit or a giveaway, and you find, 10, 15, 20 other people, training people, and you can bring them in as outside speakers and organize an event like that. And you would build your email list like that. with something like that. And just have a requirements, like, everybody that's contributing has to have a minimum email list size of at least 500, 1,000, our summits, it's 3,000 requirements, right? You have to have emails of 3,000 to participate in one of our authority and influence summits. So it's knowing what you're looking for when you first get into it. All right.
That's super helpful. Thank you.
You bet. We got time for one more. Who's next? Who's getting voluntold?
Anybody else, or do I have to pick on somebody?
I did have a question that I put in the chat. So I went to this was before COVID pandemic, but it was about a year ago. And I went to, I forget what it was, like a seminar or something like that. It was in person. And there was a guy there speaking that said you almost had to have a book of, or something along those lines to do, to make your face, the face of whatever topic you're talking about, to basically make it where you are the subject matter expert. It validated you in some way, shape, or form. Do you find that you have to do that to do some of those speaking engagements you're talking of, or can you do it based on the fact of your experience and things like that?
Both. I was going to say yes, but both. Yeah, both are valuable. It depends on the topic. Like Michael, because you were in the insurance, right?
Medical insurance, correct.
Medical insurance, right? Yeah. So like, for example, I'll use my friend Michael. Ironically, Michael Timms. He wrote basically the book on HR consulting. Particularly, he works with succession planning, and so he wrote whatever it's called around this big book, and it's really the only book that was out there. And that was his strategy for getting more known in the industry and finding out, like, meeting new people and building his credibility. But at the same time, he started blogging. And at the same time, I believe he started a podcast. I'd have to double check with him. I actually don't know that one. But he implemented a few different strategies. Now, does it make it easier? Maybe sometimes. I know lots of people that don't have books that have multi-million-dollar businesses in the expert space. They've never written a single piece of content, and people consider them the top experts in the world. So I think a book is a great business card. I don't necessarily think it's the greatest way to get known, because writing a book is a time investment. Marketing the book is where you're going to spend most of the time, and you need to do it correctly, or bring in somebody or pay somebody to do it. So I don't think you have to be the world's greatest subject matter. In your case, maybe it makes more sense, right? Because yours is much more specific, and I imagine you have some limitations around how you can work with people. You were one of the ones I was thinking of when we were introducing around what you can and can't say, or what you can and can't do around joint ventures, right? So like, for example, if you were a financial advisor, who was the financial advisor? That was
Luke.
That was Luke. Yeah, so like Luke has to be very careful about what he does and who promotes him. Like, he can't exchange money most times, right? So, but he can exchange, he can have somebody on a podcast. I can have somebody speak on a giveaway or on a summit, or have them come speak at an event or something, right? So you have to figure out alternatives in some cases. But yeah, you don't have to write a book to as your main strategy. It is one, and it could work really well for you. And it could be as simple as, you don't have to write a book. You just do the report, like I was mentioning to Robin. Whatever you need to do to get ready for, get your people ready for making the decision to pick a different insurance. All right.
Luke, did you have a question?
Well, I was actually going to ask, because he brought it up, and as a financial advisor, for one, we can't ever use the term subject matter expert ever. It's a FINRA rule. We can't say, "Oh, well, I'm an expert at financial planning for retirements." Can't use that, and somebody else can't introduce me as an expert either, right? And podcasts, we aren't allowed to do anything where we're recorded for playback later. So when you're looking at joint ventures, and you're like, there have been several times where I've wanted to do certain things, but they want to record the session to be able to reuse later. That's part of their I guess you could say, is so that they have the content on their website or whatever else, or their app. How do you get around some of those things? For me, that's really difficult, but how do you work with other people that, hey, you can't use my content, unfortunately, but I'd still like to be in a joint venture with you in order to provide an added value to your client base?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, if you can't be recorded, then just don't participate in anything that's recorded, right? So if, like, for example, summits are run virtually, or sorry, they're pre-recorded or they're done live. If you're going to do a live one, you have to specifically tell the person, I cannot be recorded, right? So then, you know, just they'll have to adjust. If they want to take you on anyway, they'll have to take you on, and then just accept that whoever sees it live is going to do it. And then you have to be okay with that. If only 20 people see your talk instead of 2,000, that you're okay with that result as well, right? So
Right.
as long as that's fine and the host agrees, absolutely fine. One way you could do is you could run the summit and not sell anything or talk about your topic. You could bring in different experts for different industries that are related to what you're doing. And then as
I
you
will
run
speak
that,
at your summit, Luke.
Huh? You'll speak at my summit?
I will speak at your summit, Luke.
that's one way you can kind of get around that, is you don't talk about yourself and you host an event like that. That allows you to much more easily bypass those rules. If you're doing a webinar, for example, where you're training on some of the topics, it can't be a recorded webinar. Just do a live webinar. Just stick to those guidelines. So I don't know all the ins and outs of the financial industry and what your restrictions are, but I know, like, you know, doctors can't have a hard time giving medical advice or whatever, right? You just have to be aware of the particular restrictions that you have, and then communicate them to the partner. But, like, I mean, I think a summit would a smaller summit, a 1-day summit, or a 3-day summit with a handful or maybe a dozen really good partners, and you interview them and get people ready for, like, that kind of cues people up for what you're doing. And then you've built an email list from that you can now email afterwards with blog posts or content that you can send them legally, right?
Okay.
So it can be more of a lead gen strategy than a sales strategy. And some people will look at summits and those things differently. They'll be like, hey, if I do that, if I'm just going straight for lead gen and I don't care about the revenue it generates, or I'm going for revenue. Because I know people that have run $100,000, $200,000 summits, $300,000 summits where they're making sales. I look at it as more of a lead gen anyway. I do both. So I do lead gen and I sell. But I have the ability to do that. You would just end up using it as lead gen. So.
Okay, well, Brady, you've got a few minutes here. I know that you have an offer. I don't know if you want to land the plane here. We got about 5 minutes. So why don't you go ahead and do that. But thanks everybody thanks Robin and Luke for being on the hot seat there, and Michael, and that was good. That was helpful.
Perfect. All right, so let's go. So I just want you to ask yourself one quick question. What would change? How would your business change if you had access to experts that would promote you through their podcast, Telesummit, giveaways, all these different opportunities that we've talked about so far? And as you think about that, know that, like, the biggest challenge you're going to face, because I've seen this over and over, is finding those qualified experts, finding the people you can actually collaborate with. And so we run an event called Collaborate. Shocker. We're very inventive with our names. It's run by the JV Insider Circle. It's a very, very simple event to attend. We get 200 to 300 people in a room several times a year. Oops, there's a slide that shouldn't be there. During the events, we've had a number, and it went through a rebrand this year. So I don't change any names when I put up testimonials. I think it's important not to change anything. So Virtual JVX, which is now Collaborate. Ted, for example, made 7 new JV partners. He was able to do some swaps with his webinar, things like that, some new podcasts, things like that. So it's really, really effective for finding those partners quickly. We run a what we call Shark Attack, which is basically like, I don't know what you guys have. Is it Dragon's Den is down there, or is it Shark Tank? Shark Tank.
Okay.
So we basically run a Shark Tank for JVs. So you get to see the inside and out of what a JV deal looks like from an expert's perspective and how they would approach it. So the total value, this was only available to our members until this year. It's always been at least $1,000 to $997 to be part of the community. To attend Collaborate's $47. The next one is January 21st to 23rd. You can grab your ticket at bit.ly/attendcollaborate. And when you go there, it kind of outlines what we're doing, how we're doing it. And I'd love to see you there. I'm always attending the events. And if there's any way we can help you find and leverage joint venture partners and affiliate relationships for your business, and so you can expand your expertise, your wisdom, and your network, that's what we're here for. You just have to go to the link, bit.ly/attendcollaborate. Here, actually put it in the chat box. And that's all I got, David.
Great. Okay, well that was good. Thanks for that, and that sounds like a great deal. Actually, I typed it in, but I forgot to put the HTTP, so it's not a hot link. So if you want to go ahead and add
Oh,
that,
great.
Brady, to make it clickable, then that way anybody that's interested in at least having that link show up or having that page show up in their browser can click on it. That would probably be helpful. All right. Well, let's give Brady a hand. Thank you, Brady, for that. That was awesome and really really good stuff. I appreciate that. Having a podcast myself and just recorded episode 30 the other day. Started it just before the pandemic, not even realizing that what I was doing. Ricky and I kind of started very same time frame and ended up moving out of the studio. So there's a lot of learnings there. I've also done summits and things. So uh, again, remember when we talk about networking, we say your investment in your network is getting to know the people in your network, and your return on your investment is who knows you. So all of the collaboration, all of the joint ventures, all of the structures that Brady is talking about here can also be put to use to help you build your audience in a way that makes sense. So that's why one of the reasons why I wanted was some of the things we're doing to expand our community. That's why I thought Brady's talk would be awesome for this group, and it absolutely was. So thank you again, Brady. I really, really appreciate you being here. As far as next week, Wednesday, we have our regular meeting. It will be hybrid, so there will be a room component as well as Zoom. I know some of you are still in the Zoom world, and that's fine. We respect people's decisions around that, and we will continue to do so. On Friday, week from today, is going to be the absolute best training of the year. No, sorry, Brady, but it's going to be me. Okay, so no, I'm being facetious, but yes, I'm going to be doing a training on specifically on the Be Connected opportunity that we have, not teaching you the opportunity, but teaching you how to build out your profile, how to take advantage of it, how to begin to collaborate and partner with that very high powered community. And Brady, by the way, I want to talk to you both about the podcast and about Be Connected at some point after this. So just kind of put that on your list, and we'll follow up with that.
I got to write a very special intro for you, Dave.
Yeah, you got it's got to be like really good. Actually, you'll have to look at my latest bio because it's a little different than the one you've been reading. But anyway, it's the same me. It's just I've tweaked it a little bit. Okay, so that's what we got going. I sent out an email, by the way, and asked you your opinion on holiday parties and that kind of stuff. And generally speaking, the response was let's call it lukewarm at best at this point. So we'll kind of wait till after the first of the year and see, when we can have our mixer that we've been deprived of since the shutdown. But we will do that. I'm also, looking at ways that we can help others in our community, as we've talked about before. So,
Hey, Dave, I have an idea. Instead of trying to do something really, big and grandiose, why not just do like last night I went to a happy hour that was an ugly sweater happy hour. So why not do like a happy hour at the Cheers thing that you do on Monday night?
yeah, well, and I'll remind people of that. There is a contingent of the group that are a little more like Ricky Jean and that provides music and Grover and some folks that are kind of that's their okay. It's a smaller group, but yeah, I'll make that available to those that are disappointed that we aren't getting together in a bigger way. But yeah, I don't want one of the things that's really important to me, and I realize there's always this FUD, or this or what is it, FOMO, fear of missing out, that if we have a get together, we're in person, there's always this pressure for somebody to do something that maybe they are less. I mean, I know not you, Robin, but I mean other people. There are people that kind of feel kind of like that. Maybe I should do it, and I don't want anybody to push beyond their comfort, and so that's where we're at with that. So Anyway, again, Brady, appreciate it. Are there any other announcements, anything, Ricky, or anybody that we should be aware of? Anybody got anything? Appreciate everybody being here. Thank you for sharing your most valuable asset. Again, Brady, thanks for the information. Thanks for coming to us all the way from Vancouver. And that's one of the beautiful things about doing this on Zoom, right? We can bring in guests from all over the world. So it's 12:59. So I'm giving you 1 minute of your most valuable asset back. And you're welcome to unmute. The mics are now open. The mission meeting is officially over, and it's 1 o'clock.
I want you guys to know after Wednesday that my squirrels are banging at the back door because they see me having a meeting and I haven't fed them. And they're like,
we're gonna
so we're here to see it.
I've heard of the cat lady, but now we're gonna have to call you the squirrel lady, you know, so.
We always knew she was a little squirrely.
Y'all be sure to check out on my YouTube channel. I've got 3 songs that we've just recorded on YouTube. 3 Christmas songs, 1 original and 2 cover songs for your Christmas enjoyment.
Yeah, did you share that link on the Facebook group, Ricky?
I will.
I saw you shared it on Cheers, I think, but share
I
it on.
did. Just waiting for you to say okay, I think.
Okay. Well, I saw it on Cheers. I probably just need to approve it, but you share it to Richardson Plano too, and I'll approve
Okay.
it both at the same time. All right. Anybody else? Any other announcements? Sabrina, good to see you back, and I will reach out to Karen as soon as I get a minute here.
Sounds good. Thank you.
And Randy, you and Sabrina need to hook up. Your connections, your clients and stuff you might be able to help her.
Y'all have a great
I'm talking to
weekend.
Luke after this, so I'm looking forward to that.
See you in a little bit.
All right, guys.
It was nice meeting y'all.
I'll leave the chat. Don't forget to download the chat if you want to get it. I assume everybody knows how to do that. So just do that. I'll leave the Zoom open for a minute so that we don't.
You all have a nice weekend, everybody.
Thanks, Randy. You too, brother.
Thanks, Brady. Great job.
Thank you. Take care. Enjoy your holidays, everyone.
Stay dry.
Yeah.